You want to slide down?
Yeah, I'll slide down for this one. All right. All right, welcome to the pre-meet for the Badgers Windy City Invite. We're joined by Mick Byrne and guest interviewer Brett Heimstead. Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you.
So I guess to kick things off, let's start with the season preview. You've obviously got a strong team, as always. What's kind of the strong points and events that you're looking at for this meet tomorrow?
I think across the board, obviously I have my favorites as a middle distance and distance coach, but I think across the board, when you look at the variety of teams that are here, I think you've got stacked fields in almost every event, and that's exciting.
So talking a bit about like the logistics for setting up an event like this, what's really like the timeline for getting all of these big name schools to send their athletes into an inaugural event like this?
Yeah, sure. This is a brainchild of Coach Kareem Jackson, our sprints coach, who came to me 2 years ago with this idea, knowing that Gatley Stadium was going to open, and we kind of started having conversations about it. Last year during COVID, we were restricted to Big Ten only competitions, and at the end of last outdoor season, we kind of sat back and evaluated what was going on, and if you look at the schools in the Big Ten and you put them all together, and that doesn't happen very often except at the Big Ten championships, we all realize that we can have some pretty good competitions. Ron Helmer up at Indiana put on some great meets during the indoor season, followed it up with one or two excellent meets during the outdoor season. And I guess the realization for all of us was, if we stay inside our own footprint, we can do a really good job and have great competitions, cut back on travel costs, the wear and tear of traveling back and forth across the country. So I think we realized that, we got something good going here within the Big Ten. Went back to Kareem and said, let's look at this, revisit this whole Gatley Stadium indoor competition, and started having conversations with coaches within the Big Ten, but also around the nation. And here we are today.
At what point? So obviously we have, stacked races for every heat. At what point was the conversation started around having an American record attempt?
That's a great question, and I knew that was coming. I think obviously Ben took his kids down to Arkansas last year, and the exact same weekend, and Cooper and Cole did a great job, obviously, in that mile. They approached us about a month and a half ago and kind of expressed an interest in doing that, and said, yeah, go ahead. I think it's great. It's great for the city of Chicago. It's great for our meet. But I don't think it's great for the college kids, right? It's great for the college kids to be in the stands tomorrow night and see that, right? Two of America's best distance runners, and probably the future of distance running. And for college kids to be part of that and see that is exciting. So for me, it's a no-brainer to say, yes, of course, you can have the lanes, you can have the time slot, and let's go do it.
What are your biggest hopes and dreams for tomorrow?
That we get an American record. And it's not just, it's certainly not, that's not a selfish thing. I mean, it's great for the sport, right? But more importantly, I think it's great for the city of Chicago. It's great for the south side of Chicago. Coach Jackson is from the south side of Chicago. And the amount of energy and work that he's put into this meet and getting this up and running and making it a big deal, he did an incredible job. And so for him, I would love to see it, and I'd love to see it for the city of Chicago.
Yeah, big shout out to Chicago Park Districts and Gately for hosting the event. What does it mean for the first time this event's being held? We've already gotten a ton of requests, obviously, whether spanning from media to additional entries. What does that mean for next year?
You know, I was thinking about this on the way down today. Historically, when you look at the number of athletes that have come out of this area, you know, whether it's the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, that are currently competing in the NC2A, Division 1, 2, whatever, right? The number is absolutely phenomenal. And so for us to kind of be here, have this great meet, kind of validates what all those kids have done over the years. And that's, to me, for me, is really awesome to be able to do that. Like, you know, this represents all the great athletes from this area. And, you know, let's keep doing it. Let's get more schools. Let's get excited about this. You know, this is a great city. This is a fun city. When I have spare time, it's only a 2-hour drive down from Madison. I come down here on weekends. This is a great city. We got all the hotels that we need. You know, again, inside of Big Ten footprint, all the alums that are in this area. Both of my sons went to Madison. My eldest boy, Aiden, moved down to Chicago after graduating. And it was fun to come down here. Like all the bars, the Wisconsin bars, the Badger bars, but all the Big Ten schools, you know, have restaurants and bars, you know, where all their alums go to watch basketball games, football games. There's nothing better than that, right, to promote our sport. And we need this. Our sport needs this right now.
Absolutely. Speaking of our sport, you've been, you know, a storied coach, been coaching for a long time. How do you feel about the future of track and field in the context of this meet? Are you optimistic?
Absolutely. When we recently went to, you know, back in the fall, went to the Wisconsin high school meet. It was my second time. I'm at Wisconsin 14 years, but only my second time at the Wisconsin high school meet. Mainly because we have our Big Ten championships that same weekend. And when you go to some of these high school meet, it just reinvigorates you. You see that our sport's alive. I don't know what the final count was in the number of spectators that went to watch the high school meet in Wisconsin Rapids. Or you go to the Wisconsin State High School meet at La Crosse. It's incredible. So you multiply that by all our states. The participation numbers speak for themselves. Our sport's alive. We just have to do a better job of promoting it. And bringing these meets like this to big cities is fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah. You've got kids who come to you from all over. Is there a specific thing that you're looking for out of the high school kids?
Yeah, run fast. Of course, everybody wants, like we're all in the same market. And you look at, gosh, over the last couple of weeks, what college kids are throwing down for times, it's just been blowing up, right? Whether it's 800 meters, the mile, or 3K, 5K, it's absolutely incredible. Look at Cooper winning the NC2A 5K last year in 13:12. I mean, you know, it's not so long ago where, you know, I've had kids running 13, you know, 30, and they're scoring at the national meet. You're not scoring anymore at that. So everything's been elevated. Look at the high school kids last week up in New York, right? 3:58 and 7:58. The pendulum has switched, right? The bar's been raised, and it's great to be part of this right now. It's so exciting, and you know, all coaches are looking for those kids, of course, right? But you know, we talked earlier about our kid from Illinois, Bob Lycan, who was a 9/11 2-miler, and now look at the Big Ten cross country champion. But you know, everybody's looking for that type of kid. But it's awesome to see how just the standards have been elevated over the last couple of years. Not sure what it was. At one point a year ago, I said it was COVID. Everybody got back to training. We weren't competing 3 seasons. We weren't, you know, racing every week, and we were just training. And I think last year, some of the performances that we saw were a direct result of that.
Yeah.
But now it's just continued, and that's absolutely awesome to see.
How do upperclassmen feel about, you know, these really fast times run by seniors in high school? Is that motivating, I guess, for your team in particular?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a comment about it, right? Like the tracks, the shoes. I don't know what it is. I think you just put great athletes together. They're going to compete, and the times are going to get elevated, and that's kind of fun to see.
Switching back to Gately, is this your first time here?
No, we had we called it a dress rehearsal.
Okay.
Back in January 15th, 4 or 5 schools, mostly local Big Ten schools. So second time, the track is fast, I can tell you that.
I was just gonna ask, you've been to a lot of tracks, how does this one compare to?
This looks fast, it feels fast. Just putting kids up there, doing some, you know, light little shakeout today, and they were blowing it out.
Awesome.
And that's just, you know, coach, this is fast. Now, hopefully we'll see that reflected in the times over the next couple of days.
Yeah.
What specific goals do you have for your athletes competing tomorrow and Saturday?
Compete hard, represent, have fun. At the end of the day, we've got 2 weeks out from this. It's the Big Ten Championships. That's a different beast than this. This is more like, you know, times. That's what we look at, distances, heights. When you go to the Big Ten Championships, that's pure competition. I love the pure competition. Here, you know, it's more like the kid gets off the track and they don't do what they think they're going to do. They get upset, right? Well, you know, it's about getting to the line first, right? It's about, you know, jumping the highest, throwing the farthest. And I think we're getting away from that in our sport. You know, when you look at, particularly indoors, when you look at the descending order list to get to the national championships, it's crazy. The descending order list now in the Big Ten is just nuts.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't look at times, perform. To me, it's all about competing, right? And we try to teach our kids that, because if you compete well, the performance is going to come. And I think we're getting away from that a little bit with the way things are going in the NC2A descending order list, unfortunately. Outdoors, it's a little bit different. You have to compete to earn your spot to get to the national championships. I like that idea. Maybe we'll get to that point indoors.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, right.
Fingers crossed.
I agree with you there.
I've got a banter segment. This one's called
Oh.
this one's called No Dumb Questions. So you had a viral video with FlowTrack a couple of years ago, where one of your athletes, they were with you on the bus on the way to the competition, and one of your athletes asked about their warm-up gear, and you grilled them pretty good. Obviously, we've got these insanely high-caliber athletes, but they're still kids at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Without naming names, what are some of the dumbest questions you've been asked by some of your athletes?
Well, the one that keeps coming up is, Coach, you want me in flats or you want me in trainers? And as you know, I'm from Dublin. I don't know the difference between a flat and a trainer. So, you know, I get all flustered. I don't care what you wear. Wear what you feel comfortable in. And I go back to my days as an athlete. I never would have the gall to ask my coach, what do you want me in?
He would probably make you run laps.
It's just, wear whatever you feel comfortable in. So, you know, and we get that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things I couldn't say on camera. But yeah, I mean, you're right, they are kids, right? They're 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, and they ask them dumb stuff. I'm a 66-year-old coach, and I say dumb stuff. So, you know, it kind of balances itself out at the end.
Between, you know, there's obviously changes in spikes and I guess just kids and culture in general. What's the biggest difference you found between you and some of your younger athletes that are coming through the pipeline?
Wow, the younger ones are very serious.
Interesting.
Yeah, and yeah, the balance in life, I always talk about that. you know, you have to have that balance of life between your studies and obviously at Wisconsin, you know, academics are very important, and we get very, very strong academic kids, but sometimes they go too much on that side, right? And I always say, I'm going to break that kid. I just too straight, too uptight, and you have to have that happy balance of having fun, because the other part I always talk about is these years, you never get them back. They're supposed to be the happiest time of your life. And I think we're charged with that as coaches. And sometimes they come in and they have us up here on pedestals, and I think that's more damaging.
To not be approachable.
Yeah, to not be approachable. And just, I like to say I have fun doing what I do, right? I get paid to have fun, you know, being around my guys, being around the girls, and just having fun. And I think that, especially now, it's just trying to find those kids that kind of have that. I always say it's the Mick Byrne personality, right? You got to have that balance in life. And I think it's so important, because I'm not sure why they're all stressed out, and why do we're always talking about mental health issues and stuff, and they're real. And why are they more real today than they were 15, 20 years ago? I'm not sure. But trying to give kids that balance and help them work through that balance, I think is our real charge.
Do you think the kids who veer more towards the academia side of things, are they also athletes that you would say focus too much on times? Is there any coincidence there, or not?
Probably.
Do you think, like, how would you as a coach, or how have you in the past more like pushed or incentivized competing versus looking at a clock?
It's everything. It's my DNA. And you know, unfortunately, when we come indoors, if we were having this discussion 6 weeks ago, then who cares about indoors? And I tell everyone, we tell all our recruits, but when you get locked into the month of February and knowing that in a couple of weeks' time we're going to the Big Ten championships, you get crazy about it, right? And it's all about times. And I have to go home at nighttime and say, you said you weren't going to do that, and you need to make sure that you're not going to do that. But you go to work the next day, and it's, you know, you're looking at the top 16 in the country, right? You get a guy like Olin Hacker who's run those 2 real fast times early on not the amount of work that you would think that you would need to do. We don't have a 200-meter bank track. And I'm very, very, you know, scared of putting them on the 200-meter flat track and doing a lot of work. So you kind of, when your athletes come along and throw down those times, it's like, okay, let's go. We got NC2As coming up, and you and I have to kind of take a step back and say, you said you weren't going to do it, but you end up doing it. And it's only for this, you know, this 4-week period that we're in, and you get crazy about it.
I'll have to come up with a term for February. We've got March Madness, but something for
I call it February Madness. It's like the week before the Big Tens. It's just a different feel. You know, we out at Wisconsin, we do these press conferences the week before. I don't know why we do them a week out, because so much can happen, you know, during that week. And I always say it's crazy week. It's crazy Big Ten week. So, yeah.
I'm good.
Any closing questions?
Not from me, at least not.
If you had to name one athlete or event outside of the men's Magnificent Mile that you're most excited for, which one would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. There's so many good ones. I think the 800 is going to be a great race. I'm excited about the College Mile. I'm really excited about the women's DM, because we got a team in there. I'm excited about the women's 3K. I think the women's mile is going to be really good. Men's 3K should be really good also.
Yeah, I think the collegiate men's mile is probably going to be the sleeper event. Since
Could be.
There's a lot of eyes on the Mag Mile.
Yeah, in some of the sprint events, you know, also we got so many Big Ten schools here in the throws, and, you know, every year in the Big Ten, the throws are just off the charts. So, you know, don't sleep on the throws tomorrow. Don't sleep on the jumps tomorrow.
Well, you heard it here first. Mick Byrne is a big throws guy.
Well, we got some great throwers at Wisconsin,
That's
so
true.
I'll be
Absolutely.
down there watching what's going on. Andrew Stone right now, number 6 in the nation, and number 2 in the Big Ten. Destiny Hubin in the women's hurdles. We're really excited. We at Wisconsin are very excited about Destiny. Kylie Robbins in the 60. She's ready to go.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be probably back shortly with a few other coaches, but Mick, thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you guys.
Thanks, Mick.
Happy hour time.
How we working on it?
Coach is like, hey, you might be right.
Is it okay if I read this item?